What's the worst case of rich kid syndrome you've seen? Girl in my high school physics class offering her brand new iPhone to be destroyed in an experiment because my dad will just buy me a new one. She had it for like 1 week. I volunteer for Burning Man, which happens to attract some of the worst trustafarians I have ever seen. People who claim to live bohemian lifestyles of art and magic, that also have unending parental support for their magical globetrotting adventure. It's frustrating, because these people live in the most sheltered bubble of all. I can't even begin to describe how infuriating it is to deal with folks who can drop $50,000 on a week at a festival. I was wondering how some of those people afford that crap. Hey guys, please help. Which car should I get? I want a lot but daddy will only buy me one. This was posted to Facebook by a Tinder match. Yeah, I'd rather not go there. You should go there and make her fall in love with you. Then you get to be a rich snob as well. My friend was Chinese Canadian. She worked as an English tutor for the Chinese uni students. Her role was to teach them functional English, help their pronunciation and work with them on essays, etc. What ended up happening was her teaching these students life skills, how to use a washing machine, how to grocery shop, etc. She had to call one family because they were sending the 19-year-old kid $25,000 a month for living expenses. This was back when a student apartment was like $600 a month on average. 90s. She explained to the parents that the amount was excessive. The parents chuckled about it but didn't stop. Dang. The kid was making more than most of their professors. A kid in my graduating high school class was very wealthy. His parents bought him a Land Rover when he was 16 and he crashed it into a school bus. They bought him another Land Rover and he lost it street racing. Guess what? They bought him a Mercedes. That will teach him. Dude would stand in a club and rip up bills of €10 yelling, "This is nothing to me." Okay, how about just giving away beer instead of antagonizing anyone in sight? My broke about crawling around picking up half tens to tape together, lol. My sweet mate freshman year of college would pay me, my roommate and his roommate to his chores for him every couple of weeks. He literally gave me $20 for making his bed. TBH, depending on how gross he was, that sounds like super easy money. My cousin is just graduated from high school last year. His parents are big time real estate agents in our hometown. Like they both probably clear $1 million a year easily. So my cousin goes off to college and gets busted for public drunkenness and resisting arrest his first semester. Gets expelled from school. Starts bumming off his folks for money. His dad just bought him a brand new Range Rover last weekend as a reward for learning from his mistakes and staying positive when the law targeted him. I feel like his dad needs to be audited. Was in college. One of my residents was a rich freshman from Rhode Island. He lives on an island and takes a ferry into town. Anyways, his first week, he asked if there was fresh water available in the shower. I didn't understand what he meant, but apparently he didn't like showering with city water and didn't realize it was everywhere he went. I was so shocked and didn't know what to say that I suggested he used water bottles to clean him. Yeah, he didn't last long. I work with a girl who said she only drinks new water. She explained new water meant only bottled water because it's new because they make it fresh just to bottle it. Another colleague explained the water cycle and that bottled water isn't new water at all. She was dumbfounded. Not me, but my scuba instructor told this story. Some rich family paid him a few $1,000s to fly down and give private scuba lessons to them in the Bahamas. In scuba, you have to demonstrate you can handle all the skills in the pool before they let you in the ocean. During the pool part, they got to the skill of clearing the water out of your mask, which is mildly unpleasant but not painful or even hard. They refused to do it. My instructor said if you can't clear a mask you can't be cleared to dive. They spent a few thousand on private scuba classes and wasted it all because they refused a pretty simple skill. Once when I was at a camp, me and a few other kids were playing a game. Kids from a different part of the camp came over and told us to leave. We replied that we were there first. One of them replied, "Yeah, but does your dad have a helicopter?" That's when I would have step kicked him in the nuts. I used to work at a wholesale kitchen appliance distributor. It was a multi-million-dollar company. The CEO's daughter was my age, 23 at the time, and would often come shoot the crap with us in sales. She had a high-rise condo by herself downtown, worth about $300,000. After I left, I bumped into one of my old co-workers and she came up in our conversation. I asked how she was doing, and my co-worker informed me that daddy bought her another high-rise condo, which was directly across from her current condo, and the only other condo on that floor. Why did she get two high-rise condos? Well, she wanted the floor to herself. I kinda felt sorry for her because she was an only child and didn't have many friends. She'd also never had a boyfriend in her life. She confided this in me when we were talking alone one time, and said all the guys she tries to date are intimidated by her family's wealth. Looking back now, I think she might have been coming onto me. I still regret not asking her out. Maybe she got the other condo for you. Fraternity did a pledge event in which we were placed in a limo. Normal friend. Wow, this is awesome. I've never been in a limo before. Rich kid syndrome friend. Haven't you ever been to the airport? I went to a private school for high school, so we had a lot of those crashed one fancy car and daddy bought them a new one kind of stories floating around. But I didn't know any of them personally. Then I went to a private college. Suddenly most of my classmates seemed to be these people. The worst by far was this guy my roommate dated for a while. Had a really nice car but had no idea how to take care of it. When it started to have trouble, he dropped it in front of a friend's house and had his parents buy him a new one. Spilled a drink all over someone's computer and when they got upset, he laughed and told them they could just get a new one. Told several professors that he paid for an A so he dang well better get it. In poetry class. WTF dude. That was the easiest A ever. Didn't understand why my roommate went home for a weekend to help her dad after surgery. He asked her why she didn't have people for that. Threw away his textbooks when he was done with them. I dug through his trash with his roommate and we split the whole even Stevens. And so much more. He didn't last long as my roommate's boyfriend nor as anyone's friend. I don't think he ever graduated. Weirdly, he had a twin sister who was very sweet and down to earth. So I have no idea how that happened. Threw away his textbooks when he was done with them. I dug through his trash with his roommate and we split the whole even Stevens. If I learned anything from this thread, it is that I should follow rich people around and sell their trash. This kind of pales compared to some of these, but I'll give it a go. When I was a broke as frick bike messenger, I was dating a woman who was heir to a major restaurant fortune. One evening, she wanted to go to a club downtown, and I said I couldn't go because I didn't have any money. She said I should come on anyway so I figured she's footing the bill. When we got to the club and it's time to pay the cover at the door, she pays for herself and starts to walk in. I'm like, hey, I don't have any money. I can't get in. She comes back out and tells me to just put it on my credit card. But of course I don't have one. She tells me she'll drive me to an ATM. But of course I don't have a bank account because I'm broke. I'm standing there in the street with her, trying futilely to explain that I literally do not own any money. She could not grasp the concept. I ended up walking home and she went to the club. We did not last long. Went to visit a friend at university, Queen's University, and they were all known for being spoiled brats. We're at his student house with his roommates. I introduce myself and say what's up. His one roommate looks at me, looks down, looks back up at me and asks are those knockoff Sperry's? Of course they were being the broke butt college student I was. So I told him yes and he just goes wow and walks away. Kid never said another word to me the rest of the weekend. Yes, currently at Queen's and this place is surreal. I'm a poor PhD student and TBH this is more money than I have ever had here so I don't fit in. I see these entitled kids every day all day. Bonus. I also mark their exams, assignments and may even teach a class in a few years. Jokes on them. I worked at Sunglass Hut in South Florida. One day a family of 4 came in to buy glasses. Now I am used to people having money and buying stupidly expensive sunglasses. But the dad told the kids, who were probably 6 and 4, to get the glasses they wanted. Both grabbed 4 pairs of sunglasses that cost over $250 each. Then both kids pulled out wads of $100 bills to pay for them. Back in middle school when flip phones razors were in, a friend asked to use my phone to call his parents cause his died. I hesitated, but then I handed him my Nokia block phone. He looked at it and was like, "What the heck is that?" laughed and walked away. What a dong. I read this as he wanted to borrow your phone because his parents died. Was really confused for a sec. Old roommate signed up for classes at the community college. Never, not once went to class. Obviously failed. His mom got mad and over the phone he explained to her that the reason he failed was his car wasn't good enough. 2012 Ford, which was fine, and needed a new one. So his mom buys him a brand new car. 2016. He signs up for classes the next semester and still ends up never going to class. Oh, holy crap. I posted something earlier about my own experience, but something my sister experienced just popped into my head. On this one, I'll call it rich adult syndrome. My youngest nephew was invited to a birthday party in the first grade. A girl in his class was having a birthday party and invited the entire classroom, about 25 kids. My nephew was super stoked to go to his first big kid party, as he put it, and spent the entire evening the night before picking out his outfit so he could look cool. The morning of the party, however, he was on his knees puking his poor little guts out in front of the toilet, crying about not being able to go to the party. My sister did everything she could to make him feel better, but he was devastated. He was also really upset that his friend wouldn't get the present he picked out for her. So, while my brother-in-law cleaned up and took care of the sick kid, my sister drove to the birthday girl's house to drop off the present and explain my nephew's absence. Of course, the party was at one of the large McMansion neighborhoods filled with BMWs, Mercedes, Land Rovers, and enough gaudy "look at me, I have money" crap to stun even Donald Trump. When the mom answered the door, let's call her bitchy McConface, she seemed polite enough at first. My sister explained that my nephew was sick, throwing up, and could not come, but he wanted his friend to get her birthday present. So, there she was to deliver it and make sure it was received. Bitchy thought that was grand, and then said, "Oh, and I have something for you and your son." She gave my sister an envelope and a small goodie bag for the kiddos. The bag had stickers, gum, some M&Ms, a bouncy ball, all the typical crap little kids loved. It probably cost about $2 per bag for the kiddos. My sister thanked her and left. It wasn't until she got home that she opened the envelope. It contained a card that said, "We are sorry that you did not feel it appropriate to respect your RSVP'd confirmation. Much time, energy, and money was put into this party. Please pay us back for the money and time that you wasted by not bringing your child to a party he or she was confirmed to attend." It contained a breakdown of food costs, about $25 per kid, according to Mrs. McConface, costs for the entertainment, a clown or bouncy house or some such crap, and $35 per kid, and a $150 inconvenience fee for non-monetary expenditures. This woman was rolling in dough, and she threw one heck of a bash for her kid, if the itemized bill is to be believed. Yet, she had the gall to think that a sick kid not being able to attend meant that the parents of the child should be charged over $200 for the inconvenience. I had a friend I met through competitive gaming that I visited once for a tournament. He and all his friends went to a prep school and were now all in university. I stayed at his uni rented house because it was before school season and there was empty rooms. He told me he didn't talk to his family because his father kicked him out and abandoned him. We keep drinking and he keeps explaining, and it turns out his father felt like when my friend turned 18 he should leave the home. Old values, understandable. So the dad pays for my friend's rent, his uni tuition, and his car. Dude still considers himself abandoned. My mum got me a pair of jeans for my 18th birthday. I couldn't even imagine having all of that provided for me. I saw a girl absolutely fuming because the BMW she got as a high school graduation gift wasn't quite the right color. I got a Chili's dinner and a gratis. I was at a club with a very rich friend of a friend who wanted to show off and impress the ladies, and he poured some super expensive champagne on the floor and was like, "What's money, eeh?" I would have told him he's a freaking idiot and should rethink his life then and there, but I saved that for after he picked up the tab that night. He was overall a very unpleasant guy. I met a kid who didn't understand the concept of washing dishes. And then BSP. Wife went back to college. New city. Didn't know anyone. Started a movie night thing to meet some people and build a social circle. And then BSP. We provided a home cooked meal, a fun movies that most people hadn't seen, and a place to gather. Went over great and had 6-12 people showing up each week to hang out and talk and eat our food. Generally good people. Because she was going back to college, a lot of college kids came. All good. And then BSP. I knew this one guy was from a rich family. His first night there he's bragging to everyone who'll listen about this 30k plus truck his parents just bought him and telling everybody how awesome he is. And then BSP. After everything is done we're collecting dishes in the kitchen and he walks over and following me to the kitchen he walks in and puts his dish and silverware in the trash can. Hey man, what are you doing? I'm assuming he brain blanked for a second. No big deal. What? Give me the dishes. Don't throw them out. It's a ceramic plate, not a paper one. Why he asks, obviously confused. I'm going to wash it. Why he repeats. Now I'm confused. So it'll be clean for next time? Oh, like the dining hall. Oh, okay, sure. And then BSP. I find out later he basically lives off takeout, restaurants, etc. He's never cooked anything in his life. His family has servants who clean up after meals and he just assumed dishes were something you threw out when you were done. College was the first place where he even saw the idea of putting dishes somewhere other than the trash, or leaving them on the table afterward. And then BSP. He wasn't a bad guy honestly, just, I was amazed something so incredibly basic had slipped by him for years. I'm seeing it right now. Actually, I have a friend I went to art school with and we both studied photo. We both coincidentally live in a large city, where I have been working and making art in my spare time for about a decade. She's also been here about that long, but has been fortunate enough to have her father completely underwrite her life, meaning no need to work. And she even has a full in-home darkroom set up in her apartment. Well, dad finally pulled the plug on the free art life. So, now she is likely going to have to leave our city. Her response was to set up a GoFundMe, to the tune of 11 grand, asking her friends to pitch in to help her renew her lease and pay rent, etc. Pretty mind-boggling on so many levels. I guess people who have had stuff handed to them their entire life have a very different concept of what's owed to them, and what's okay to ask for. The art life is tough, I know from lived experience, but there's no way in heck I'd hit my friends up for rent money over it. The killer is, she's had a decade of what amounts to a free art grant, and the amount of work she's produced is ridiculously small. I personally create more work in a year, and that's with a full-time job. Seeing things like this on GoFundMe pisses me off to no end. I once reported someone my younger brother knew for setting one up to collect money from people for paying for his hospital stay after a car accident, conveniently forgetting to share with people that it was his second DUI and he was without a license at the time. 2 guys in college. 1. Mom, I need new Gucci shoes. They're dirty. 2. Throws current cell phone against wall and destroys it. Can I borrow your phone to call my dad? Dad, I need that new RAZR. Mine broke. Maybe not worst. Back when I was in college, in the US, at the end of every school year, the students who were from other countries, in particular, Japan, China, and India, would throw out barely used clothes, bicycles, and any other items they couldn't bring back with them over summer and didn't bother to keep in storage. These were often students that were going to this US college for 4 years, but who were just going home for summer. Many people would go dumpster diving after they left and find designer clothes and tons of other great stuff for free. Can't complain, cause many of us benefited from it, but I can't imagine how rich you must be to throw away those things and not think that anyone else would ever want a barely used designer shirt or sunglasses. During a holiday, my cousins came down to visit from New York. 2 of them were younger, I think one was 11, the other 15 at the time, and we knew that their family had a decent amount of money. My grandmother, not having a lot to give and not knowing what these 2 boys could want, gave them money cards with $20 a piece inside instead of gifts. When they opened them, the younger one laughed loudly and the older one just looked disgusted before looking up at my grandma's smiling face and saying, "What the frick do you think we can buy with $20? What little see?" When I was about 17, I had recently saved up enough money to buy a new smartphone. It took forever since I was a high schooler earning minimum wage and being told by my parents to use money on certain things. So in total, I had very little say in what my money would be used for. So when I had enough for this smartphone, I was too excited. So, it's been about a year with this phone. I plan on keeping it for a couple more since I prefer to use them until they're completely useless. I'm holding it and standing outside in a parking lot, waiting for my friend inside the store. She comes out and comes up to me. She is spoiled rotten, mind you. She's hyped up about something. I never found out what. She grabbed my phone, and I thought she was going to make a call since she left her phone at home. I warned her to be careful with it. No, she was not careful. She wasn't making a call at all. She threw my phone in the air and caught it. At this point, I was flipping crap and running over to her to take it back. Back she threw it again, much higher, and tried to catch it. She did not catch it. My phone was completely shattered. I was horrified and cradling it like she just dropped my newborn child. I kept asking her why she did it. She just laughed and said, "I didn't think it was gonna break." I got angry and said that it took forever to save up for it. She replied, "Just ask your mom for a new one." Ah, you kidding me? I told her not everyone can ask their parents for a couple $100 for a new phone. She simply shrugged and said, "It's just $300. Not really that much." She doesn't work, obviously. She doesn't know what $300 means to a teenager making minimum wage. She then asked me to tell my mom that I broke it so she wouldn't get in trouble. Needless to say, when I told my mom how it broke the truth, my friend was pretty pissed. In fact, she refused to buy me a new phone when I asked. She wouldn't tell her parents, and she never invited me over again so I could tell her mom. So a few years later, I'm out and about and in town again, and I see my old friend's mom. We were catching up from the last time we saw each other, which was before the phone incident. Then her mom says, "It's a shame you two stopped talking because you were upset that you broke your phone." Well, I quickly ended the conversation and went on my merry way. Side note, I have an iPhone now. I don't let anyone near it. Bro, I don't care who it would have been that did that to my phone and said ask your mum for a new one. I'd go right to their parents, make them pay for the dang thing, and then give the kid a swift punch in the nose out of spite. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.